Hello and welcome everyone. We are so excited that you are all here wanting to learn more about how GCPay can simplify the application for payment process using GCPay and our newest Sage Intacct integration. For today, we're really just giving you a sneak peek into GCPay. If after today, you think that GCPay could really be a good benefit for your team, please be sure to reach out as we would be happy to schedule a live direct demo with you and your team. Also, the best way to communicate with me today is using the chat feature. Please be sure to, enter any questions that you may have for me throughout today's presentation. All right, let's jump into it. For those of you who have not heard of GCPay, GCPay is a cloud-based platform for managing the subcontractor pay application process. I love GCPay's founding story. So it was just right around 2003. There was a construction auditor who happened to be the founder of GCPay, and his job was to go in and audit commercial general contracting businesses. And after doing this for a few years, as you know, the paper chasing process, the paper pay apps back and forth, the lien waivers were just such a mess. He was like, there has to be a better process than this manual way that my clients are handling the pay app process today. Well, luckily for him, his brother-in-law was a subcontractor. A software engineer. So they teamed up in 2003 to create GCPay. And really it was just for their clients that they were auditing. But then quickly, one general contractor talked to another and it spread like wildfire with everyone saying, yes, we would also like to better automate and streamline our pay app process. So fast forward, almost now, 19 years later, they now have over, now 20 years later, they now have over 45,000 companies on the platform. Last year, they did just a little under 30 billion in contracts. And currently we are managing projects not only in the US, but Canada as well. All right. So why do companies select GCPay? Well, today you'll be able to see how subs can easily submit their billings right in the platform. Your appropriate approvers are all automatically notified. This is just completely eliminating those back and forth emails, those bogged down inboxes, and again, just automating the entire pay app process. GCPay will completely eliminate any possibility for a sub to overbill line items or contracts or make any sort of math errors. Part of the direct integration includes automatically pulling over any approved change orders from Sage. So this will eliminate you having to hand key them and also ensures that subs can never again bill for unapproved change orders. You'll never have to deal with missing lien waivers since your custom lien waivers are automatically generated in the platform every single time. There's no need for you to have to create the lien waivers or worry about any errors on it. They are perfect every single time. GCPay will streamline that entire compliance process. We can automatically notify subs when their insurance items are about to expire. You can even stop subs from billing if they haven't sent in their updated insurance. Built into GCPay, we have the ability to pay your subs electronically if desired, eliminating the printing and mailing of those paper checks. This feature is not only optional, but it's flexible also. And with the direct integration into your Sage platform, whether it's Sage 300, Sage 100, or today we're going to be talking about the Sage Intacct integration. We also have the ability to eliminate any of the, hand keying or double entry of those approved pay apps or any of the project information or those commitments or purchase orders. You'll see today how we'll be able to automatically push and pull all of that information that you've already entered into Sage using our direct API integration. We recently sent out our 2022 annual customer survey, and the results are in. GCPay's satisfaction rating was 4.74 out of 5 stars. Also, our company net promoter rating was amazing. 85% of our respondents rated us 9 or a 10 on a 10-point scale when asked, how likely would you recommend GCPay? G2 is another third-party review site. They have us rated 4.6 out of 5 stars with an overall satisfaction score of 94%. Capterra, another third-party review site with over 120 positive reviews, and currently we are rated 4.6 out of 5 stars. we understand that the ease of use and customer support are important. We want you to know that we take pride in the high user ratings that we see time and time again. I will be sure, to, of course, send you these links if you don't have access to it already. So you can, be sure to check it out yourself and see what, others in the industry, your peers have to say about using GCPay for their subcontractor billings. At the end of most demos, usually we'll get feedback, the platform looks really good, but what about the subs? What do they think of it? In order to answer this question, we actually surveyed all of our subs, and actually over 5,000 of our subs responded. Overall, I think they really like GCPay, giving us 4.3 out of 5 stars, 85%, saying that they're very satisfied using it. And I think what's important here is that 74% of the 5,000 subs that we surveyed have been in business for over 10 years, used to doing, a lot of these processes manually. So again, I think it's safe to say subs really like using GCPay also. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here, and let's go ahead and jump into the platform. Give me just a moment here while I change screens. All right, great. Here we are jumping into GCPay. All right, first off, as you'll notice here, I am just on a web browser. GCPay is fully web-based. You can access GCPay from any location, any device, as long as you have an internet connection. GCPay.com is where you'll go to log in. And of course, the same will go for your subcontractors. All right, so logging in here under the welcome page, we have our quick links. You can access different areas of the software here. As you can see under recent news, we're always taking feedback. We are always making feature enhancements to the platform when necessary. So you can be sure to read about any of those releases here. To start a new project, you could simply select Start a New Project. We are going to have, again, using that direct API integration, a drop down of any company folders that you have already in Sage Intacct. So again, if you have one, it would just show the one. If you have multiple companies, it would show all companies. So you're going to first off select which company folder we are using. Now, from there, you will, using that Sage and GCPay integration, will be able to select which company, and then of course we'll have a drop down of all of your active projects that you currently have active in job cost. So again, you are not having to rekey any of this information. You will be able to select which project you want to pull in to GCPay. Now for today, I actually already started us a project. As you can see here, Siesta Plaza is what we'll be using for today's demonstration. Everything that you see here under general settings, this is all that project name, project number, location. This is all that information that you've already keyed into Sage. We are pulling it over exactly as is into GCPay. So again, no additional having to rekey any of that information. Now, as you can see here, I purposely left this blank. This is also the same information that will be used later on to automatically generate your lien waivers with, which I'll show you later on. All right, scrolling down to users. So users that are added to this project for any part of the process will be shown here. Users can be added at any time. You can also change or view permission settings for a user by clicking on their name. So again, this is where we have the ability to, for each individual user to have different roles and permissions within GCPay. We can say, all right, this, is going to be a project manager who can change project settings or add other subs, or a compliance officer who's going to be responsible for reviewing any of those updated insurance items that your subs upload into GCPay. Next, we have a review order. So again, we can get very granular on how we want to customize the routing and review process. We can, designate exactly which user is going to be, first, second, or third reviewer. Now, again, be sure to set up a direct, demo with us. We can go into a little bit of a deeper dive, showing you exactly how the automated routing and review process is customized within GCPay. All right. Now I'm just going to go ahead and move over to the next tab here. And as you can see, project companies. So under project companies, you'll have the ability to go ahead and add the subcontractors that will be working with you on this Siesta Plaza project. As you can see, we have Ford Metals, Jackson Heating and Air that I've already added to this project. Now, when adding a new subcontractor to the project, if you just select Add Company, this will give you a live list of all of your subcontractors. And so you can easily select, which sub you'll be inviting to which projects with just a click of a button. Your subs will be alerted via email that they've been added to this project. Now, if this is a new sub that you're working with, as you can see here, send invite. You can easily fill out the information along with the user's info, along with their email, so we can easily send them an invite to get registered for GCPay. Once they're registered, they'll always be registered. What's really nice is if you have already subs utilizing GCPay with another GC in the area, it's very well possible that they already are in our database. All right, next tab over is going to be that integration tab. Okay, again, this is where we're really highlighting that integration between Sage and your Sage Intacct for Construction solution. From here is where you'll have the ability to link those commitments or those purchase orders that you've already entered into Sage Intacct. Linking a commitment will show you all the commitments that you have already set up in job cost for this project. So you can select, one by one. Alternatively, you have the ability to select auto select match contracts where we can automatically select which contracts belong to which subs from from Sage. Now, we have the ability to pull in these commitments or purchase orders in a few different ways. So I can show you, the way if you were to be entering the detail for that purchase order or that commitment in Sage, we do have the ability to bring in that line by line item, description, as well as the line item value, just as you have it in Sage. We can pull this over automatically approved. So as you can see here, for metals, they'll be alerted that their schedule of values has been approved and is now billable. Now, there's a second way we can do this. Let's just say we're only going to bring in that lump sum of $177.65, and we'll allow the sub to break out the line item description and value for their schedule of values. We can do that as well. So as you can see here, we have this little clock. It shows that we've submitted the commitment to Jackson Heating and Air. However, they're going to go ahead and be responsible for editing the schedule of values. And once they do so, that will come back to us as the GC so we can get our eyes on it and approve it. And only at that point would that SOV become billable. Now, again, today, we're really just giving you a sneak peek into this ability. On a live, direct one-on-one demo, we can show you exactly what that process looks like with the sub editing their own schedule of values. All right. Now, moving on, this is going to be another piece that GCPay is going to have the ability to manage, and that's going to be your subcontractors' compliance or those insurance items. For Sage Intacct, GCPay is going to be the compliance management solution. Now, clicking on here, the sub, this is going to show you, which insurance items are required. We have the description along with the expiration date. Now, GCPay is going to have the ability to notify your subcontractors 30 days before the compliance item has expired, as well as the day of. So again, no one on your team is ever again going to have to be, manually, tracking your subcontractors' required insurance items, having to notify and wait for your subs to send those items back in. GCPay will manage that. How much time is your team spending on verifying your subcontractors' required insurance items? Are they up to date? The time spent reviewing manual spreadsheets, notifying subs, and chasing these documents. Again, GCPay will handle this entire process. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and next navigate to the dashboard, as you can see up top. GCPay's dashboard is going to be completely customized based on the user's roles and responsibilities within GCPay. Each user's dashboard will be completely unique based off of those user roles and responsibilities. Users can easily come straight to their dashboard, which will show them what items need their attention. As you can see, we've really gamified the dashboard. Anything red with a number means something might need your attention, or, green 0, you're good to go. You even have the ability to filter the dashboard by project or by approval type. No one wants to dig around, around spreadsheets or filtering through their emails to figure out what actionable items are needed. This allows every single team member the efficiency needed to ensure that no one is spending more time than needed to review sub items. All right, I'm going to come over here to the Submitted tab. And as you can see here, we have the project, Siesta Plaza, we have the sub, Jackson Heating and Air, and it looks like a schedule of values is what needs to be reviewed. So we'll go ahead and hit review. Scrolling down. Now, this is the sub schedule of values that they had just submitted. GCPay is going to ensure that subs can only create a schedule of value that meets exactly that contract value, which will eliminate subs from ever again overbilling the contract. Also, if there's any additional documents that you would like the sub to upload along with their SOV, you can make that a required item. And this is where you would have the ability to review that item. So if you're taking a look here, and if you need this, schedule of values to be, more detailed, or if this is not the correct document that you require your sub from your sub, you do have the ability to reject. Or of course, once approved, your sub will be alerted that their schedule of values has now been approved and is now billable. With the transparency that GCPay provides you and your subs, how do you think this would be helpful? Your sub knows exactly what the contract value is and just simply can't, under or overbill it. All right. Now, let's go ahead and hop back into that project. And I can come over to my project tab and I can type in the name of the project. And what I want you to notice here is the integration tab is highlighted in red. When I open that up, notice here, this is that schedule, that sub schedule of values in which we just approved. However, if you'll notice up top, the schedule has an unmapped contract item. What this is telling you is that a change order has just come through. So again, going back to GCPay and Sage's direct API integration, we will have the ability to automatically pull in those approved change orders. GCPay and Sage are talking to each other every 30 minutes, which means if you approved a change order in Sage, it will automatically flow into GCPay 30 minutes later, no hand keying whatsoever. If I scroll down here, notice under change orders, change order number 1 for $8,000 has just come through. If we were to sit here and chit chat for the next 20 minutes, this change order would automatically be added to the bottom of this approved schedule of values. Alternatively, there are times that we need to push things through quicker. So I'm going to select change order number 1 and hit save. And there we go. Change order number 1 has now been automatically added to the approved subs schedule of values. So 2 key things here, no hand keying. No one on your team will be hand keying these into GCPay. Your subs are definitely not hand keying these in. They're flowing in straight from Sage automatically. Second, these are the only change orders that your subs will ever again have the ability to bill against, which will eliminate your subs from ever again billing for unapproved change orders. If you think back again about your processes today, how do you think the controls around change orders would be helpful for your team? Maybe no more back and forth trying to verify with the project managers, or, going through manual spreadsheets, or, the back and forth with your subs trying to verify. Again, this is really just ensuring that, we're being able to provide your team the efficiency it needs to ensure that your subs are in fact billing on only those approved change orders moving forward. All right. Next, I do want to show you some project settings. Now, keep in mind, GCPay is extremely customizable. You will have all of your default settings already configured up top here. However, you also have the ability to customize specific project settings. Do you require, sub invoices to be due by a certain date? Under billing options here, notice you do have the ability to designate a bill due date. Now, once that bill due date is designated, GCPay will automatically notify your subs 7 days prior to that bill due date. Never again on your, anyone on your team will ever have to be manually reminding subs of when to get those invoices in by. Now, I'm sure your subs are never late submitting their billings. However, if you have, the few that are, you do also have the ability to close the month out after the bill due date. So for example, if a sub tried to submit their billing to you on the 30th, it would tell them it's automatically being pushed to the following billing period. We've heard really good feedback because apparently it only takes one time to happen to a sub and they're never late billing again. All right. Again, we have many options. And again, we can go over this in more detail, once we do schedule that live demo. But before we move on, lien waivers, I do also want to show you some lien waiver settings. Now, keep in mind, your team would be sending us all of your lien waivers in the Microsoft Word format. After that, our team will do all the heavy lifting. We'll upload your waivers and tag them so that the correct county, owner, start date, billing numbers are all automatically generated. No need ever again for your team to be manually customizing waivers for each subcontractor. Now, after they're uploaded, any of those standard waivers are just automatically added to every single project. Now, let's just say you do have a project-specific waiver, a state-specific waiver that we need to add. You can simply select Add Lien Waivers, where you'll have the ability to add those variable waivers to this project as needed. All right. Now, also, you have the ability to customize how you want to trigger lien waivers. You get to say, all right, we're going to require this lien waiver before the sub can submit their pay app, or maybe once the pay app has been approved, or maybe manually. We'll also be able to set up whether this waiver is a partial or the unconditional or final. The system's smart and knows when to trigger the final waiver. Now, down here, notice digital process. We do have digital signature built in right into GCPay. So if you do allow for digital signature, we can have that selected. Alternatively, if you require notarized lien waivers, we can also require notarized lien waivers. All right. And also notice, I do want to touch GCPay can also handle the ability to submit those tiered waivers if you are in fact managing your tiered suppliers or vendors. Any additional project compliance items, any sort of custom document, we have the ability to add into GCPay. All right, let's get to the fun part that I know you guys are waiting for. I'm going to log out and I'm actually going to log back in as the subcontractor so I can go ahead and submit my billing to the GC. All right, so logging in as the sub, notice GCPay is very similar to what you saw logging in as a GC. I have, quick links. I can access different areas of the software, recent news. Now I'm going to come straight over to my project tab and let's go ahead and type in Siesta, and there is that project. All right. Now, again, schedule of values, because the status is now showing approved, only now has this green create link appeared. So we can go ahead and create the pay app. All right. Retainage, I don't want to bore you guys with retainage, but just know we are going to pull in from Sage that initial retainage value just as you have it in Sage. GCPay supports many different types of retainage, whether it's the standard, the variable, the locking and releasing of specific line items. The point is you as a general contractor control retainage. Just know you have many options in GCPay. All right, before we talk about what a sub can do, let's talk about what a sub cannot do. item number, the line item description, or the schedule approved line item schedule value, or if this was my third or fourth billing, any previous billed amounts, these are all locked columns we cannot touch. However, what we can do is we can enter a dollar, a percent, or stored material. So coming in, I can go ahead and start entering my values. Notice $20,000, the percent of work automatically calculated. We can go the other way around and we can start entering percentages of work complete. GCPay will automatically calculate the math for your subcontractors. Never again does your team have to spend any time on your sub invoices reviewing for any sort of math errors, the balance to finish, or maybe the percent of retainage. This is all perfect math every single time. Now, if I was to come in here and this line item shows 2,000, but you know what? I think I deserve 5. Notice GCPay will not allow your sub to overbill line items. Never again do you have to review your sub invoices for overbilling. Or again, notice there's nowhere for me to enter a change order. Here's that approved change order number 1 that came in. We can definitely go ahead and bill on that. Stored material. Do you allow your subs to bill for stored material? What kind of backup do you require? How are your subs getting that to you today? Is that, something that your team is spending that additional time having to chase down? Well, I'll show you how GCPay can also handle the billing of stored material, and we can enforce that any of that, required backup is included with the sub invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a value here. Scrolling down, notice your subs will be given a summary. It just makes this process so much more transparent. They can clearly see, how much will be paid if approved. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right. Now notice here, submit. Submit. Doesn't matter how hard I try to select this, it is grayed out. Your subs will not be able to submit their invoices until all of that required documents have been attached or any of those required items have been fulfilled. So let's just go ahead and start at the top here. Provide additional information about your subcontractors. So how are you tracking your tiered vendors, those third-party suppliers and vendors? Do you require those tiered waivers? In GCPay, we will track and send waivers for all of your tiered contractors. Each time your sub enters a billing, they will be asked to report any third-party subs. For today, we're just going to go ahead and hit no. And again, please be sure to contact us for a one-on-one demo so we can show you exactly how GCPay does manage the tiered subs. All right. Next item is the checklist. So the checklist is really just an acknowledgement. This is all custom verbiage. You can have as many items here listed as necessary. What's important about the acknowledgement here is that this is all going to show up on the audit trail. I would say most GCs do have this turned on and say something around, if you have outstanding compliance items, your payment will be delayed. Your sub has to physically check this. And again, it will show up on the audit trail. This way, they can't come back to you and say, well, I didn't know that you were going to hold my payment if my compliance item was outdated. Well, yes, you did. It was in the contract. You acknowledged it. It's on the audit trail. All right. The backup for stored material. So again, GCPay is smart and it knows that if your subs enter a value in the stored material column, we require backup to come along. So again, this is all custom verbiage. Whatever sort of backup you require, whether it be pictures, invoices, certificate of insurance, you can have all of those items listed here so that again, your sub has to upload that backup before they can submit the invoice. This is just, again, saving your team the time it takes, having to remind your subs that you require that backup and waiting for them to submit that to your team. This is going to give your team the time back to focus on other areas that are necessary. All right. Lastly are the lien waivers. All right. I'm going to show you how your team can require lien waivers upfront from your subs, ensuring you never again have to spend time chasing them down. Now, I highly doubt that there's ever a situation where you're asking for 3 lien waivers upfront from your subs, but I do want to be sure to show you the whole breadth of options that you have around waivers. Now, as you can see here, the GC is requiring 2 conditionals and an unconditional, 2 of which can be signed digitally and 1 requires notarization. Now, let's just start with the top one here, the conditional that we can sign digitally. All right, when I click sign, just pretend that this is your waiver, because remember, we're using your waiver. So whatever the style, the font, the layout, whatever it looks like today is exactly what would be shown here. Now, what's important is everything that you see here in bold. These are those custom tags that I was mentioning earlier. So the, project name, addresses, the billing amounts, the start dates. This is all automatically generated from the information that we're pulling over from Sage or the billings that you've approved. Again, no hand keying. We have 80 of these custom tags. So again, your team never has to spend time manually customizing lien waivers. Now we have the digital signature feature turned on. I'm going to hit sign document, remembers my signature from the prior time, and you can see how easy it is for subs to sign, and now it's dated. Our digital signature is good by UETA guidelines and is fully legal as a wet signature in all 50 states. All right, next, let's take a look at that conditional that requires to be notarized. Now, if your sub, has a notary there in their office, they would just simply download it, get it notarized, and re-upload back into the platform. Alternatively, we do have a partnership with notarize.com. It was actually during the pandemic, it was heavily requested by subs to have a notarization option that didn't require them having to go into a bank or a post office. Notarize.com will open up a Zoom screen. The notary on the other side will online notarize the waiver, and then it will automatically be imported back into GCPay. We negotiated a max wait time of 5 minutes for notarize.com, and online notarization is legal in all 50 states. All right. I am going to upload my notarized waiver. All right. Lastly, you can see here that the GC is asking for an unconditional waiver. And you may be wondering, well, why would a sub ever sign an unconditional or even a final before payment? The key here is that I do have GCPay's optional e-payment feature turned on, which guarantees receipt of final or unconditional waiver. And I'll show you how. First, let's take a look at the waiver. Just your standard, normal unconditional waiver. Now, take a look what happens when I sign it. Notice how now the waiver has a watermark all over it that says unofficial copy. This is the key for your team on how you can ensure that you are never chasing a waiver again. Since the ACH is being utilized, we will take the funds from the GC bank account, and the second the money clears the sub bank account, we will then release this waiver back to the GC without the watermark. In real life, your sub is being told, yes, while I'm submitting this unconditional or final, it will only be a watermarked version that the GC can view, and only once the funds clear my bank account will that official waiver be released back to the GC. This leaves both parties completely protected. The subs get paid quickly. Your GC, you as the GC don't have to worry about storing any of your subs' bank account information, and it guarantees receipt of waiver every time. All right. Now, with the controls around billing, requiring these documents up front, how do you think your subs would benefit from this? No more are they having to spend time, back and forth through emails or contacting your team, trying to remember what is required of them. We make it very easy. It's upfront. They can clearly see what's required. All right. Now that we've submitted all of those required documents, we'll go ahead and hit submit. Also, never again will your teams ever be spending time having to fill out your subcontractors' AIA invoices again. GCPay will automatically generate every single invoice in that AIA format, your G702, your G703, and here's that audit trail. All right, Let's go ahead and log out, and I'm going to log back in as a GC so we can review and approve my subs invoices. Now I'm going to go straight to my dashboard. And as you can see here under submitted, here's that project, here's that sub, and it looks like they have just submitted application for payment number 1, and I'm going to hit review. We can go through line item by line item, make sure this is in fact the backup for that stored material. Now, taking a look at the sub billings, if I was a project manager and I had my tablet in hand and I was out on the site walking the job, I could come up here, show me current billings, get rid of all that noise, make sure the percent of work that they're billing for is actually what's completed out on the site. Here's that same exact summary that you saw on the sub side, so we can clearly see how much will be paid if approved. Now, notice, if for whatever reason, you guys decided, oh, it looks like you're billing for 50% on line item 5, but it's more like 25%. If I was to reject this, GCPay will not allow you to reject anything without leaving a comment. And this is really just to help your subs from being blindsided. So if you are in fact rejecting anything, they'll clearly know exactly why it's being rejected so they can quickly come in here, revise and resubmit. All right, let's go ahead and approve. All right, now that we have approved the subcontractors' invoices, that next step in this workflow is getting that invoice pushed back into Sage Intacct. So you'll notice here we have a Sage Intacct tab. When I click on this here, this is going to show me a list of all of my approved invoices. We can select, one by one. We can select all. It does not matter. With a click of a button, we'll be able to export these invoices where it's going to be directly imported back into Sage Intacct. No hand keying whatsoever. The invoice is generated for you. If you're paying via paper check out of Sage, you would just continue that workflow as you are out of Sage today. If you did decide that you wanted to take advantage of the electronic payment feature in GCPay, I'll show you how that would work. Going back to my project, notice here the ACH tab. This is going to show me a list of all of my payable items via electronic payment. We can select which item we want to go ahead and pay. We'll hit create batch. And again, you will have a designated treasury officer. This is going to be the only user who is going to have the ability to release payments. So I know often, you are only paying your subs when paid by the owners. So again, you can have that payment in the status of escrow waiting to be released until you guys are in fact ready to pay your sub. Now, once you do, of course, hit the release, and your subs are paid, it'll take 2 to 3 business days for your subs to be able to get paid electronically. All right. Lastly, we do have reports that come out of the box with GCPay. We have company level reports. We also have project level reports. Thinking back to your guys' current processes, what kind of reports do you typically pull today? These are all customer requested reports. One that I would say is most commonly used is this monthly cost bundle report. This is going to allow you to select which parameters. So we can select January. How many number of months do we need to go back? Are we including retainage or not? Do we want to include any of those additional documents? Email me the report. That report will be emailed to you in that AIA format, compiling all of your sub invoices on that project based on the parameters that you selected. You have your G702, G703, the audit trail, any of the attached lien waivers, additional documents, again, for that period in which you chose. So again, you can download this, you can print it, email it, whatever you need to do with it. The point is you never have to spend time having to compile your sub invoices for that period, as I'm sure you guys are doing today. All right. So that is pretty much GCPay in a nutshell. GCPay is what's going to be able to provide that transparency, puts the controls in place, and eliminates the back and forth trying to fix those errors or chase down those documents. And then, of course, the other piece, hand keying, those approved payouts back into Sage. how do you think GCPay would benefit your team as well as your subs? And again, this was just a quick sneak peek into GCPay. We also have owner billing capability. So please be sure to, reach out. We would love to schedule a direct demo so we can really take a deep dive and show you everything that GCPay has to offer. Now, I do have just a couple of ending slides. So let me jump back in. Give me just a sec to share my screen once again. All right, so what does GCPay come with? GCPay is not only going to train both you as a GC, we're also going to train your subcontractors. Your designated onboarding manager will assist you in the entire process of getting your entire team trained, as well as your entire subcontractor workforce. Again, we will do the integration into your Sage platform. We also have a chat, which is available it's actually available in Spanish as well as English via phone chat or email. So again, you don't have to worry about, fielding your subcontractor questions about using the platform. Your subs know that they can contact our support team who is there to assist them with any questions they may have.